The government man wore a look of pure terror on his dead face. Joseph looked at the thing he'd torn from the man's body. A wet, black and red lump of meat. His heart. It was almost up to his mouth when he realized what he was doing. He dropped it, recoiling from the body. He almost shrieked, but nothing came out of his throat. It was only when Joseph brought his hands to his face did he learn how he was able to reduce the man to bloody ribbons. His hands were no longer his own. Instead, he looked at the talons of some kind of lizard. Sharp yellow claws protruded from dark green scales. Joseph heard a hissing noise, and for an instant he was back on his family's bicycle, the one with the constantly leaking inner tube. The hissing came from his own throat. It was the only sound he could make now. He turned and saw another soldier, this one wearing sunglasses that reflected the daylight, back at Joseph. In the tiny mirrors on the man's face, he saw a horrible creature. A fish-like head on a man's body, lizard skin and needle-sharp teeth and claws. The fish mouth gaped back at him, and he realized that when it moved, so did he. He saw himself. Joseph couldn't move. The soldier was equally horrified, but he had a gun, and with a simple pull of the trigger, he stitched a line of bullets across Joseph's chest. They thudded heavily into him. He felt blood pour out of himself. He sat down on the grass. But he didn't die. The soldier ran away before finishing the job. The bullets alone were not enough, but Joseph knew he wouldn't be able to stand again. Cramps bent his legs. He felt bones cracking. Whatever had changed him wasn't done yet, but his body couldn't take any more. All around he saw the other children from the line. They were twisted and changed as well, but some had not transformed as fully as Joseph. Some were like large tadpoles, their bodies fusing at the legs and waist. Others collapsed into a heap, unable to take the strain. He saw scales and fangs like his own, claws and ridged backs, gill-like protrusions under snapping jaws, but he saw nothing remotely human. One by one they all dropped. Even the ones still breathing like Joseph could not move. The government men were long gone. They left their jeeps, their equipment, even their guns. Men from God's army came down from the bush and began scavenging whatever they could find. They were careful to walk around Joseph and the rest of the lizard-like bodies. Joseph heard the familiar and unfamiliar strains of English from behind him. His heart was beating slower now. There didn't seem to be enough blood to go through him anymore. He recognized some of the words. It was almost a pleasure to recall learning the language. "How you have any right to complain," the first voice said. "Every one of them died," the other responded. "Now we'll have to find more." Joseph twisted his head around despite the pain. He couldn't turn his neck as far as he did before, but he saw the men who were talking. One was a commander in God's army. He was speaking to the man in black, the one who brought them the powder. "I'm sure you'll have no trouble filling the ranks," the man in black said. He kicked one of the bodies nearby. It squealed. He aimed a gun at the body and fired. It let out a hiss that trailed into nothing. He moved on. "You didn't say it would kill all of them." "That's the nature of science," he said, stepping closer to Joseph. "You keep on trying until you eliminate all the mistakes. That's how you learn." Joseph wasn't scared. He realized how futile it was, waiting for salvation all this time. He understood now. He was dead. He must have died and gone to hell a long time ago. He wondered how this could happen to him. What could he have done to deserve this? And now he knew. God had abandoned him. With that knowledge, a kind of peace settled over him. At the very least, he no longer hoped for anything better. The commander scowled. "And what did you learn here?" The man in black looked down at Joseph. For a moment there seemed to be a dark mix of pity and amusement in his eyes. "Enough," he said. "Enough for now." He pointed the gun at the space between Joseph's eyes and fired.